Okay, finally got to see the fascinating Florida neo-Nazi thing. That was kind of weird. And I like how all these people have found like this weird history of this guy all over the internet, because the internet never forgets and stuff. And yeah, that was kind of fascinating. That was that. If anybody, if you didn't see it, there's like some weird pro-Biden neo-Nazi thing in Florida. These guys over a freeway, and it looks super glow. It looks pretty glowy. I mean, but that's how things are now. But anyway, so I was thinking about. So one of the things I was reading about, this one critic of this part of this history was critical, because it was trying to actually sort of get across to people like, no, so Americans, what we really think of ourselves in our best way is how we work hard, but we also are a lot of fun. We play hard. And yeah, and that because we love the celebration, the sweet at the end of the bitter, and we very much look at ourselves like a people who will do the work necessary to get the excellent reward at the end, which is the sweet celebration of one or another holiday, or birthdays, or things that you do with your family. The Sabbath meal, where everyone gets together in the afternoon on Sunday and watches 60 Minutes and falls asleep after dinner and stuff. And so, fun. So I notice how a lot of people like Rockefeller. Well, Rockefeller didn't really like enjoying his money. This is something that actually some people, they kind of don't get about Donald Trump to some degree. He has enough money and such that he could have not kept working a long time ago, but he did keep working, and he did, and they don't want to also confront that he did work. So he actually did run his companies, and so it's one of these things like, no, that so you end up getting this issue of that he's not really somebody who sort of enjoys his money as much as he obviously can. We're starting to see sort of this idea of you have to have a lot of money to buy you something like that. Like an island where you could have bimbos all the time on the island, and people visiting you so that you could show them your fantasy island. That takes tremendous amounts of money. and that we're finding out, no, there's people like that. They're going to enjoy their unbelievable gobs of money, and eventually there's not many ways you can, apparently. So at least in one lifetime. So the New Dealers, the people who wrote the New Deal, a lot of these people, they were actually like not they were not cool people, apparently. These were people, like, one was described as particularly liking marching exercises, and that he was one of these people that had seen World War I, and in seeing World War I, he had this mentality of that people need to be prepared for the next great conflict. So he becomes one of the writers of the New Deal. Like, this is an example of the kind of people. They didn't like fun. They didn't like normal people having things and having fun. This was very much an elite class of people that wanted normal people to obey a better lifestyle. They wanted to kind of civilize all these people and stuff, especially a lot of these Eastern European immigrants that were starting to show up. And this is also the time where you see a big push, elite level down, for joining Masonic fraternities, so that you have a common cultural references of sorts. And so you will end up seeing Masonic symbology in a lot of things for decades on, because so many people had been introduced to it in this way that kind of, and they identify with it. So is their subculture of sorts. Whoa! And so but there's these eras of time that we stop having fun. That this becomes there's sort of the intellectual class, and a lot of elite educated people all tend to agree, that there's a crisis that everybody has to sacrifice for. And it happens about every 40 to 60 years or so. And we're just seeing one of these cycles that it's, no, everyone's got to sacrifice or else. I mean, really, like over and over and over again, we have gone through this. If everybody doesn't sacrifice, the world will end. And it always is somebody, a professor, who's telling you so. And if you even start asking the wrong questions, or asking questions sometimes at all, and it's happened before, they put down the normal person who asks logical questions. Completely reasonable questions, like why is Treasure Island in the Bay still there? Why is Alcatraz still there? That kind of thing. So it's just this, because there's also this hatred of the kind of fun poor people have. Like, it says poor people like whooping it up, and there's just a lot of people that they don't like how poor people whoop it up. And so instead of creating sort of a cultural, because you see, a renaissance would be difficult from the middle class. That would be real work. Instead, you could just make life really, really hard for the poor so that they just are really quiet all the time. Hopefully. But that usually doesn't work. All right, later.